Hello there. My name is Dr. K. Paul Stoller, and the video you're about to watch is based on an editorial I wrote titled Attack of the COVIDians, which was published in a peer-reviewed journal. The overwhelming evidence of COVID as mass occult event? Children are 4,423% more likely to die if injected with these serums. Since the globalist bankers and the oligarch families that control them failed to impose feudal socialism on Europe with World War II, they have been scheming ever since to have the will of their pedophile death cult accomplish what they could not almost a century ago. Obsession with occult practices, rituals, and population control has always been paramount for them, and so full of hubris they are that they announce their plans in advance, almost as if the universe requires them to, for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. Seduced by their own avarice, greed, and lust for, false power, they generate fear, which is the gasoline negative energy runs on, and pedophilia is the glue that holds these fools together. Now, I wish that was the beginning of a bad science fiction story, but this is the actual reality we are living through on the shadow planet we call Earth, because it is a type of schoolroom of sorts where spiritual beings have an opportunity to grow from the experience offered in this rather low vibrational material reality. Yes, we are in a spiritual war, and to pretend we are not is done at our own risk. For even now, our fellow humans are dropping like flies from the bioweapon jab meant only to depopulate. Specifically, Western cultures, while the COVIDians make money doing so. Democide. I am not trying to be sensational, and honestly, I would like nothing better to stick my head in the sand and reconnect to the Matrix to be blissfully ignorant. But once you actually see these dark hearts, there is no going back. Disrespect for life is their modus operandi, because life is an anathema to them, their own lives and everyone and everything on this orb. I will just point out that this particular universe, and there are many, is a benevolent one, which means it operates on love, light, and expansion. Be that as it may, here on Earth we have only the shadow of that benevolence, as we only have the shadow of the maleficence that operates in other universes. These two energies can't actually coexist, but their shadows can, for the benefit of our free will and choice, and to learn from our choices. Handwriting on the wall. In 2017, I warned about the elite's plans in the Bolin report. I just didn't know what virus they were going to use, because their plans called for blaming the unvaccinated, so it had to be something they already had a vaccine for. Unknown to me at the time, Johns Hopkins published their full culling plan, SPARS 2025 to 2028. As per Dr. Francis Boyle, author of the Biological Weapons and Anti-Terrorism Act, COVID-19 injections meet the criteria of biological weapons and weapons of mass destruction, according to Biological Weapons 18 USC. Section 175, Weapons and Firearms. Section 7, 90.166. Florida Statutes, 2023. You want to know why one of the reasons the USA caused a coup in pro-Russian Ukraine in 2014? Among other nasty endeavors, they wanted to proliferate biowarfare facilities that numbered 46 at the time of the Russian intervention, all operated by the U.S. Defense Department and DARPA. The general Ukrainian population didn't know they were a hub for slavery, sex trafficking, drugs, money laundering, and organ harvesting any more than the citizens of the USA know we are the headquarters for these activities. Now, in 2023, JAMA published very credible evidence that the vaccine offered no mortality benefit from all causes or COVID. That's right, zero benefit at hospitalization or infection, and therefore zero benefit on mortality. Apparently, the author and the JAMA editors didn't realize they were inadvertently exposing the corruption. New Zealand data leaked by Barry Young has a smoking gun: a 27% increase in all-cause mortality over 12 months if you got the jab. Of course, there was a lot of gaslighting that took place when the data was revealed, because it clearly shows a government being complicit in a global democide. If you were hospitalized for COVID and you were vaccinated with the COVID vaccine, you were nearly 2 times as likely to die than those who were hospitalized for COVID and not vaccinated. Most studies that claimed a positive effect of the COVID-19 vaccine only focused on the level of antibodies produced to say that it works against COVID-19. This is how all vaccines are evaluated. Do they produce antibodies? Never mind if those antibodies actually do anything to protect from the disease. This paper looked at actual mortality, or death, rates among vaccinated patients compared with non-vaccinated patients. This is why the HHS, or Health and Human Services in the United States, never funds vax versus unvaxxed studies. Both Pfizer and Moderna's original FDA filing listed the COVID injection as experimental gene therapy. Obviously, that is not how they and others promoted it, which is a form of domestic terrorism. It wasn't therapy either, but a weapon. The long-term fate of modified mRNA, also called mod mRNA within cells, is currently unknown. What we do know is many continue to produce spike protein for years. N1-methylpseudouridine in mod mRNA, used for increased stability, leads to the production of proteins for an unknown amount of time and in unknown organs or tissues. This isn't just about the spike protein, the most pathogenic or deadly part of the virus, which was modified with GP120 derived from the HIV virus. Oh yes, this was lab-created, first at UNC and then spiffed up for delivery in Wuhan, China. Evidence is provided that adding 100% of N1-methylpseudouridine, or M1-cis, to the mRNA vaccine in a melanoma model stimulated cancer growth and metastasis, while non-modified mRNA vaccines induced opposite results, thus suggesting that COVID-19 mRNA vaccines will cause cancer to develop. It has been known since 2018 that pseudouridine was carcinogenic. So, mod mRNA is actually put into these things called lipid nanoparticles. Now, lipid nanoparticles, all by themselves, have inflammatory properties, which is, pretty concerning. These lipid nanoparticles carry mod RNA to all organs, and get this, they even cross the blood-brain and blood-placenta barriers. Why did they lie and say it would stay in the deltoid muscle? I mean, they knew exactly where these particles would go. Lipid nanoparticles head straight for the reproductive organs on their way to the entire body. Mod RNA actually transfects a far more diverse set of tissues than infection by the virus itself. The truth is, they really do not know what they are doing. And honestly, they are experimenting on humans who apparently now have no more rights than farm animals. Mod RNA being transcribed into a DNA copy is more than probable, especially with the risk of intergenerational transmission if germline cells incorporate the DNA copy into the host genome. Now let's talk about the creation of unintended proteins. Pfizer actually admits that their platform creates 4 proteins, not even counting Spike. But, let's face it, Pfizer lies and people die. So who really knows how many undisclosed and unintended proteins are actually being created? Melissa McAtee found evidence on Pfizer's internal database from a lab in Spain that their COVID injection vials had graphene oxide. There is only one reason to include graphene oxide in these platforms: tracking. 4 co-conspirators concealed for years. They created the SARS-CoV-2 chimeric prototype, with its design from Barrick at UNC, and the lab work carried out in biosafety level 3 conditions at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Fauci was the point man in exercising a biosecurity coup that essentially put the final nail in the coffin of democracy in the United States. Few know most of his salary was from DARPA, because he was their bioweapons man. New American Normal. Walgreens invites customers to sacrifice their children, which brings us to the next disturbing chapter of this democide, given no one has been held accountable. Walgreens is sending out texts to parents to enroll their children in a clinical trial for another COVID-19 jab. After all, we can't kill the children with CoV-2 itself, as it barely touched them. ModRNA, get it? The average IQ is now in the 90s in the USA. No judgment. That means half the population is below 100. And, given there is so much gaslighting from so many directions, it is hard for even medical professionals to get at truthful numbers and wade through scientific or quasi-scientific articles that were deliberately created to mislead. Those of us with medical training who have not been captured or compromised have a duty to help those with little to no knowledge in this area to understand a war is being waged against them. We are the carbon, footprints and all, that the COVIDian misanthropes want to get rid of. Expose, 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 and hold these misanthropic COVIDians accountable. It will also be very helpful if the USA pulls out of the United Nations, which is only pushing population control and other globalist totalitarian agendas. They want, via the WHO, to be able to declare anything, anyone, and everything a pandemic based on fluid definitions they make up.